Hello. For a few centuries of space travel have learned of the existence of others, planets of meteorites and even other galaxies. On the other hand, the existence of UFOs and aliens at a long time represented an invention for the most part people, until the greatest news story hacker make an incredible discovery in the video of the day. Let's slip in the skin of Gary McKinnon Laker, who revealed that the aliens exist. You will obviously find all sources and description. Who is Gary McKinnon? Gary McKinnon, still known under the nickname Solo, is a British system administrator born in 1966 in Glasgow, a port city located on the River Clyde, in the lowlands west of Scotland. It is accused by the United States of having succeeded biggest hack all-time military, February 2001 and March 2002. Indeed, it is accused of having entered 97 networked computers, American computer belonging to the NASA, to Army, to Navy, to Ministry of Defense, to the Army, the Air, as well as at the Pentagon. A sacred track record at the time. In his paper on Figaro, described him as a guy who no longer washes life in a bathrobe, loses its work and his girlfriend, but this unemployed daily. The day is okay, the night is fine. McKinnon, on the morning of March 19, 2002, it is arrested by British police in his apartment in London in England. Criminal unit British High Tech is coming at the home of Gary McKinnon, a 34-year-old system administrator. They are there to arrest him in the name of United States Department of Justice and NASA, with an initial stake of 6 months of general interest, as sentence incurred these last passed now at 70, in the most famous and terrible prison of the USA, Guantanamo. After the United States began to attach great importance to the do they believe that the crimes of which he is accused of causing damage, valued between $700,000 and $800,000, between deleting files, computer reviews unusable 2,000 US computers. Army must have been off for 24 hours. McKinnon, meanwhile, acknowledged the effect. While challenging a certain many things, the actions of the British Heart just happened before September 11, 2001. In fact, the US authorities were quick to advance the thesis of revolution, but McKinnon claimed he was looking for only to establish the existence of original spaceships, alien, and get their hands on confidential works about UFOs. He does not claim his innocence, but on the other hand, he disputes the damage caused. According to him, he damaged or infested it. No computer who visited it. He did it exploit security vulnerabilities rushing in. If the USA wants throw him in jail to prevent him from speaking, is more related to content that he would have consulted, and what would have discovered during his arrest. He had repeated these motivations to many times the click, and its passion for UFOs, since his childhood. Gary is passionate about astronomy at the age of 12. One night when he looked at the sky, he saw one evening a original mysterious light indeterminate, which began to zigzag before disappearing. He attended the scene with his mother and his stepfather, who was passionate about bringing UFOs. It turns out that besides his parents, i.e. his mother and his stepfather, had often observed phenomena inexplicable and unexplained in the corner near Bonnie Bridge, where they lived in a town in Scotland, considered the Scottish capital. UFOs reputation, which has more than 20 years since just between 1992 and 1994. More than 600 flying objects not identified and were sighted. Years pass, and Gary more and more captivated by UFOs. At 15, he is interested in ufology, also called ovniology, and which is the study of the UFO phenomenon. It returns to the Buffett, the Association British UFO Research. Growing up, McKinnon becomes a computer self-taught, well, that having obtained a qualification of base in view of its lack of capacity in pure mathematics. He had already learned to be programmed at the age of 14, and long continued to areas like artificial intelligence, computer graphics and programming games just for fun. So that's naturally only in view of his abilities that he returns to his forever attraction for UFOs, the triggering element which pushed him to infiltrate the Americans, and of which he often speaks. It's the Disclosure Project, in French, the Dr. Stephen Revelation Project Grill. This project aims to reveal technological advances achieved through to the study of extraterrestrial objects, focused on any secret technology, allowing the energy free. Free energy is a concept derived from scientific theories. on the energy that sustains that there would exist easily accessible forms of energy abundant, free and simple to, in other words, harness the energy free, would replace fossil fuel sources, such as oil. Indeed, the Revelation Project was a collection of 400 testimonials from people from various professions, pilot, air traffic controller, radar operator, etc., in through men and women, responsible for whether or not to launch nuclear missile, claiming to have rubbed shoulders with at one time or another technologies UFOs operated by the government American for his own benefit, and in the McKinnon secret, was so more than never determined to have evidence of the existence of UFOs. He affirms, I quote, "We are waging war for oil. We burn fossil fuels. We pollute the environment, and our old pensioners who die in Britain, it's because they can't afford to heat themselves." This is how this hacker, although he does not allow this appellation to pass his days and his nights for 2 years of hacking into military computers Americans from tent house of her ex-boyfriend, located in the north of London as a British, he could play time zones when it was daylight at home. It was a night in America, the king proper. Much later, McKinnon says he is surprised. Let no one attempt to research previously on these state sites. In effect, a number of sites in military documents were wrong, password protected or locked, pass very easy to guess, and affirms even seeing original IP addresses. Various connect at the same time, as he therefore maintains that he had no need hack to access it, reason for which he refutes the accusation of hack that the United States carries to him. At least, it attracted attention to the low level of federal security that was highlighted in an official report published in 2006, but how to do it concretely. McKinnon used a technique called leveraging trust relationships. The principle is the following. Since the US Army and Pentagon sites recognize each other and therefore make each other trust they were entering a website, little or badly protected soldier then access the most protected of the system under this identity. It is then possible to progress more and more deeply by taking control of remote machinery. Went unnoticed until one day network engineer was physically present in front of the machine, which served as a cover. The heart was able to escape. Go out that day pretending to be for a computer scientist in pursuit of a virus. In the meantime, McKinnon says to have discovered absolutely nothing regarding free energy. Keep in mind that 99% of the time we can't find nothing. Absolutely nothing. I scoured the system for years. I was doing myself a point of honor not to read the personal emails. I was looking for documentation, not to communicate. As soon as let's start reading the emails, and well, that makes it data to pass to the screen. He confides in an interview. And what did he actually find out concerning the remaining 1%? McKinnon was able to unearth documents from Building 8 of the Johnson Space Center. This is the building where Donna Art worked, a NASA photographic expert who said on the project site Revelation that people were passing their time editing images. High-resolution satellites for erase UFOs during these excavations. He came across filtered and unfiltered named directories to be processed and raw files with images, image format different from everything that he had already been able to see in his life. And you can imagine he must have seen some file formats, images each weighing 200 to 300 megabytes. For give you an idea, an image of good screen-sized quality of computer is 1 megabyte. So it had at the time a low connection throughput that would have cost him 5 minutes to download said image of a megabyte. Then there is the idea of reducing image quality and upload it randomly after a certain time. It saw a view over the globe terrestrial where a large object was located, cigar-shaped at the ends, slightly flattened with domes spherical above, below, on the sides, and at its extremities. There was no welding, none riveted, no telemetry antenna. Nothing of the kind. It is obvious that it does not look like no satellite that I had seen. I'm addicted to space since the age of 14, so I have seen some satellite photos. He did, however, could not take a screenshot. It isn't observing the image appeared at 3/4. He saw the mouse move by itself, clicked on the local network icon, and hurt the connection. That's why that was a funny time kind of triumph. Of course, I had by myself totally confirmed what Donna Art had said, but I got caught at the same moment. These two that following surveys and through its IP address McKinnon may have been discovered as McKinnon's arrest and confession. also claims to have discovered a list titled Non-Terrestrial Agent, with names of the ranks in all 120 people named there not believe that its non-terrestrial agents be aliens, but think it's proof that the US military has a battalion fit in space. Another mentioned list of ship material transfers to vessel or from fleet to fleet, which involves many McKinnon ships. Think then that the United States was secretly developing in 2002. 1 Space Marine Corps. 1 force able to control space, using technology extraterrestrial acquired somehow on another. This is the beginning of the hunt for the man who had been hired against him, because security then traced the intruder's IP address. Until UK later, McKinnon doesn't even remember very well how much long after being spotted officers arrested him. He spent all his nights on the computer and had lost track of time. He remembers just that the police arrived at his domicile with a warrant of search to arrest him. McKinnon was aware that all the evidence of his research were on his disk hard and that he would discover them sooner or later late. So he recognized this introduced on sites classified as defense secrets, but refused to recognize from extended damage to these McKinnon structures. Actually claims to have discovered a either Navy or NASA list. This list includes 2130 people of rank agent of interest, of which he does not doubt the human nature, but rather function in the Army. There was also a list of ship transfers to ship or from fleet to fleet. Keep in mind, the spirit that fleet to fleet involves many vessels of the movement of material, and these vessels, there were not US Navy buildings. Once moreover, I do not remember the names, but I remember trying to the time of associating names, and nothing didn't match. Lawsuit trial following the USA request his extradition to New York. Little reminder he had been arrested at London in England. The struggle of its lawyers against his attempts extradition will be played out for the first time in November 2002. The offenses for which the extradition of our client is asked were committed on the floor British, and we note that any prosecution must be conducted by the competent UK authorities. They specified in July 2006, the US request for the extradition of McKinnon is granted by the Minister Interior. From the John Red Gary era, McKinnon appealed in February 2016. Before the High Court, his lawyer, asserting that he had been the subject of inappropriate threats, and that this decision violates his human rights. If he is found guilty, Gary McKinnon faced a prison sentence of the order 70 years old in April 2007. The judges of the High Court dismiss his complaint lawyer, claiming he can't find any ground for appeal. The case is then brought before the House of Lords Low Lords, where she will be again rejected in July 2008. Again on the grounds that no threats were made against him. The lawyers of the convict announced that he would take his case to the European Court of Human Rights, where he loses his appeal again in August 2008. His lawyer then makes a revelation. Gary Ma recently received a diagnosis of Asperger's syndrome, is a form of autism that can cause psychosis states and tendencies suicidal. This argument allowed the hacker to secure the support of 100 deputies of artists, and even that of the wife of the Prime Minister Sarah Brown. Following this, the Minister of the Interior affirmed that his case is being taken into consideration. In January 2009, McKinnon signed of the confession, which reflects his guilt. The former judicial control on the grounds that extradition would be inappropriate and will jeopardize his health danger, and again offers to be tried in the UK after the Crown Prosecution Service, which is responsible for legal proceedings, so he sees himself deny leave to appeal before the Supreme Court of the United Kingdom against his extradition. The Haute Court, judging that the farm is not of one general public importance. After numerous legal proceedings, McKinnon no longer risks anything, since the British government announced in 2012 only for health reasons he would not be extradited. He had the support of the British Minister of the Interior Theresa May. Elsewhere, it was she who had decided on her no extradition. According to her, no doubt that Mr. McKinnon was gravely ill, and that Mr. McKinnon's extradition would entail such a high risk that it put an end to his life, and also only one extradition decision would be incompatible with human rights of McKinnon. Thus ends the incredible history of the greatest hacker of history. Ufology, a real science, or else a utopia? We will try to explain to you. the little that we have understood of this science, and above all, we will focus on exobiology, again called astrobiology, exobiology, and the study of life in the universe, planet Earth, include it's a science who was born in the 60s, an up discipline that encompasses origin, research, distribution, and the evolution of life in the universe, as well as that of the processes and structure linked to the living. It is located at the intersection of several other disciplines and encompasses many others, such as biology and biochemistry, for the study of life, as we know about inorganic chemistry and organic to understand the appearance life on Earth, and chemistry, prebiotic paleontology, for understand the history of life on the Earth, geology to understand the evolution of rocks and soils in different environments, climatology to understand the evolutions of an atmosphere, planetology to understand the processes taking place on planets, moons, or exoplanets. The works of exobiology are based on a major concept, a prebiotic chemistry, that is to say, who studies the appearance of life from inanimate matter, and which brings out molecules and complex structures beyond the appearance of life, very different from ours, is considered, but difficult to study. Moreover, on July 20th, the famous astrophysicist Stephen Hawking has launched the Breakprout Foundation, which has a budget envelope of €92 million, with a goal outside the common to unearth in the depths of the heavens an extraterrestrial intelligence sign. There is no bigger question, declare the science media. British on stage at the Royal Society of London, the mystery who represents UFOs and aliens is not nearly fully lifted. We hear at the end of the video. Do us know and comment if you already have heard of the greatest hacker of history, and do not hesitate to like and to subscribe if you haven't already. Very soon for new videos on discovery.